Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all who have taken time to sit down and join us on the virtual couch for the 44th episode of The Divine Mess. Thank you so much for taking time out in your day. I'm Tina Marie, and I am the one that will teach you all about how to love yourself. Sometimes I still need help with that, and I talk to my co-host about that all the time. So I am joined by my co-host, as I have been for the last 43 episodes, and for quite a bit of time prior to that, because he's my bestie and I talk to him on a regular basis. So the delightful Curdy David Perryman is sitting to my left this morning. Feels like he's in the same room, but unfortunately he's about 8,000 plus kilometres away from me. So I will hand the ball over to him and he can introduce himself, and then we'll get started on the 44th episode.
Well, thank you for this beautiful introduction, Tina. So for the first timers, welcome to the Divine Mess. And we are reaching near our 5-0, right? That's the first target.
So
And
close to someone else's
so
5-0 as well.
someone's lucky number for this year. And we are reaching that as well. So we are really pleased to come to our 44th episode, where today we're taking time to reflect on last week episode where we hosted Elizabeth, the priestess, and Tina was like just bathing in, and everyone, we were like just taking in the divine feminine energy, which was a beautiful, one of the most beautiful episode that we had, I feel, in terms of energy wise. And it's worth listening.
Delightful.
Yeah,
So
if you have
delightful.
if you hadn't had time to listen, I would say pause this one and just go back to the 43rd episode and just listen to it. Take time. I wouldn't suggest while driving because
No,
it's just
I would
like
I would suggest a nice cup of tea and a
mm,
comfortable couch, or prop yourself up in bed with your headphones and take some time out and just bathe in the energy. Because, yeah, it's like one of those reasons why you don't listen to meditation whilst you're driving. Because you become very relaxed and very at ease. And that's how it was in her energy and in her company, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like a very beautiful, like divine mother energy that came through
Mm.
while she was sharing her experience, her business, about her coaching, her recent event that she just had, and she shared an experience even with her husband, like that they are creating like this temple, or I forgot the exact name, but it's like they are creating that divine masculine and divine feminine. And what I like is how she really embraced that energy. It's not just having that term of being called priestess, like she
Mm,
really embodied that. And that's what I really, enjoyed during that episode, because it was just being present in the moment and
yeah.
just being, like I remember, like you were telling me, like, oh, you're not saying anything. And I was like, yeah, well, why should I say something? Because it's like, you just, in that moment, you just have to embrace and, like just be aligned and allow this energy for you to receive. And it was a clearly like surrender, like moment,
Mm.
like you just, okay, let it go and just listen and just be.
But I think it was, there's not many times where you say that you feel that you've been in the presence of true divinity, like, almost like you have a connection to the Almighty. That's what it felt like that just literally felt like she was a direct channel to all the beauty that comes from embracing your feminine side whilst being in balance, right? I think that's the most important part out of what I gathered from it. But I think it's interesting when she was speaking about how she was raised as a child, in terms of, from a really young age being taught how to meditate, and eating really nutritious food, and obviously practicing yoga, and then her mum starting her own church, and embracing that femininity, but at the same time rebelling against all of that. And for those of us who were kind of raised in the standard household, where it was getting up and going to school and balking at going to church, the typical type of church that we, a good portion of the population get dragged to on a Sunday morning, and you must repent your sins, kind of, you've been very bad all week, and it's just a poor parent that's going, oh crikey, I'm on the end. I'm on the end of my tether and I don't know what else to do, so I'm just going to throw God in the mix and get them to fear God rather than to necessarily fear me. But you look at it and you go, isn't it amazing what your environment can do for you in terms of who you become? So that for me was a really, and being a parent too, it's an interesting thing to look at. It's the environment in which you provide for your children has really a very direct correlation on who they become as adults. And I'm sure that you see that in your practice, where you have a lot of parents who are going, oh my God, what do I do? And how do I provide a really good environment in which my children can feel like they're, well-rounded. But, she did fight against it. And I know you've mentioned at times fighting against that, being of service to other people and just wanting to be of service to yourself.
Yeah, I did, like, for me, it was more fighting against the religious aspect, like of my culture.
Yeah.
And it has been what, 20 years of fighting, I feel, or over 25 years that I denied and denied and denied. It's until I came to New Zealand that I realized that it's no point of fighting. So it was like 5 years ago that I really embraced my culture. And for me, it took like for me to go to another country to understand the importance of my culture. And because it was just like, not just like you, like it was about the Sunday school, but we had a different type of upbringing. I would say it's not Sunday school. So for us, it's like we will go to the temple on the Friday, but we do have, I grew up in a house where we had a spiritual guru. So there was that guidance, but that, for me, that was something I rebelled against, because the way we were taught about it, I felt like it was only based on the people who were teaching it, their understanding, but it was not deep enough. It was not deep enough, because when you ask a question, you were like shut down, because you were just said like, this is how it's done. This is how. And I felt like Elizabeth as well mentioned that she was rebelling against all those, like religious belief and all of that. And I feel that we all go through that as a teenager, especially, and you become that rebel mode, don't accept. For me, it's more than now deeper is like, it's not accepting the light that deep within. And my spiritual guru always told my dad, like, because my dad was asking about that, because you were talking about upbringing. So my parents were concerned that, so how would they grow me up, like, when I'm not following the guidelines, I'm totally against it. It's like practically atheist that I became, like,
Yeah.
at that time. So my guru said, just let him go. Just let him live his own path, like be on his own path. He will come back.
Mm.
And that was the only thing. My dad understood that. My mom was another story. But she took some time to accept that. And I feel it's until I came here like 5 years ago that I really, okay, I have more, I would say, space to really delve into that. There was no one to go around to ask. So I had to go within. So I feel when the choice is like all the choices are taken away, where you have the only choice is to go within, then I went back to all the books and I read it by myself, and I kept reading it. I kept on reading it, and I still do. And now that I'm more on the digital detox kind of thing, so I'm
Yes,
taking
I know.
more
I've
time.
noticed.
So I am more like reading it, uh, but not just reading it. It's like, you know, when you read a sentence and then you're like, wait, did I just get out? Oh, I should go back to the last paragraph or last page to really understand what I mean. But it's like really meditating on what is meant for me. What is the meaning behind it? And I feel like based on the upbringing, like going back to your initial thought about the upbringing, based on what my parent taught me and I saw, is like they were doing their work, their inner work. So they were working on balancing their energies, while even how difficult it was not to, to allow me, to give me that space to grow, they still gave hint like, oh, you may consider this, like it's a very gentle way, like there are two ways. And I always learn that from them. And even my cousin, like my eldest cousin, will tell me, look, there are two paths. Either you go on the easy path where you will have a shitty life, or you take like the what seem challenging, but you will live an easy life. So the seem challenging is like maybe like going within, reading the books, doing meditation regularly, or that was my practice. I'm speaking about my practice.
But it is true, in everything. We can take the Netflix and chill approach
Yes.
to life, right? And sit on the couch and not be active participants in what is happening, versus getting up, eating good food, moving our bodies, meditating or journaling or whatever your form of prayer is, however it looks to you. It could be sitting by the river with a fishing pole. It could be bungee jumping, it could be all sorts of whatever your thing is, but it's finding your thing and giving yourself time and space and permission to find your thing. And you didn't give yourself time and space and permission until you moved away from all the elements and influences. And I think that's, similar to what Elizabeth was saying, is that she had to unleash her wild woman in order to find herself. And I think that's an interesting, it's an interesting path for both men and women, because we don't have those rites of passage in Western society so much anymore, where you had to prove yourself at certain ages, or that you had the ability to lead your family, or to go out and hunt and gather and to do all of the things, or to go on these spiritual journeys and find the true meaning or find your true path. And I think that's the problem for a lot of us, is that we get to certain ages in our life and go, what am I doing? We don't have the opportunity, or unleashing that portion of ourselves is considered bad, or it's not socially acceptable, all of those sorts of things. And then we get all of, speaking from a feminine perspective, we get all of these angry, frustrated, pissed off women who don't know why they're angry, frustrated, and pissed off. It's because they've not been given the opportunity to explore all their facets. Like, they've followed the plan or they followed the program and then wondered why they're so dissatisfied after they think that they've achieved all the things that they thought they wanted to achieve, and wondering why they feel like they want to, you know, step out of their skin and go, this doesn't feel like me. Or when women completely do a 180 and go, well, no, I don't want to be that anymore, or I don't want to be married or anymore, or I don't want to be X anymore, is because there's nothing in our pathways in our late teens and early 20s that gives us the freedom and permission to explore, to, you know, go on the spiritual journeys, to do all of those sorts of things safely, you know, to find other women who want to. I think there's more of it now, or it's more socially acceptable, or it's more widely advertised that you can go and do these things, but it's still a journey for all of us. We've got to kind of undertake it at our own pace. But it's the one thing I did enjoy being in her company, was for the fact that you could surrender and you could simply just be. You know, there was no ego, there was no expectation, there was no. She was really good at holding space and just being herself. You know, it's interesting to be in the energy of someone who has no agenda, no nothing. She's just who she is.
Yeah, and I think like when you're with someone who has done her or his inner work, you can feel it, like you can sense it. You know, they have been working on themselves. And I like that she really acknowledged her wild side. She never denied it. She never like said suppressed it. And when you was talking, you know, like about women, you know, like following the plan, and I feel like society has a plan for women, had a plan a long time ago, and it has been going on, and now it's like changing, it's shifting, and now that's causing a disbalance as well in everyone, like in terms of their energies, in terms of people, like even men, like trying to find their role. So what is my role if when the women is like growing so much, like where do I sit now? And that's why I was listening to a podcast where they were sharing that when you are in that divine energy, you know, like the women was saying, like when she's in that divine feminine energy, she really allow her partner to really embrace the masculine. So she doesn't have, you know, anything to worry about. So if he tell him, if he tell her like we are going to the restaurant, you know, like we are going to which restaurant, he decide on all of that. So she just need like to, you know, like embrace her feminine energy. She doesn't have to, you know, like worry what to wear or something like that. Maybe she will, but it's like she doesn't need to worry about the agenda, you know, like what action need to be taken, you know, like do I need to book the car if, you know, like they want to have some drinks. It's like, yep, he's telling me, yeah, I'm fine with that. And I feel that's the healthy relationship, in terms it's not like I'm telling you what to do, but I'm just sharing like where we are going and leaving it as a surprise, so that you can just be and embrace that. And if you're not a wounded feminine energy, you wouldn't take, oh, he's like giving me orders, you know, like he's like telling me what to do. Then you
You
will,
can feel the feathers ruffling, you
yeah,
know, like
it's
when it's
like,
like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm
oh,
not sure I like that.
yeah, here we go again. He's telling me what to do. And with Elizabeth, you can feel that she really embraced that feminine and really allow to be herself, like in terms of her feminine, like just receiving whatever energy is coming towards her, she just receive and she just allow it, and then she will transmute it. I feel like she's like that recycling mother guy, you know, like, and you just transmute that energy and send it back to you in form of love and compassion and understanding. And I feel that's where we should be aiming, like everyone else, every person is like, whether you're a man or a woman, like it doesn't matter. It's like about that balanced energy, like when you know to take that inspired action, like you're not just receiving. Because if you listen to her, she knows when to act on that intuition coming through.
Yeah.
She doesn't just allow, so she will take the action. But the
Mm.
moment she receive it, she allowed to receive, and then she just take the action.
It's the
Like we
riding
all,
the wave bit, right? It's
yes.
that constant
Mm,
knowing when to paddle and when to turn about face and jump on your board and ride into shore. Like it's a cyclic motion all the time, but it's getting good at receiving. It's getting good at the little things, like when someone offers you a compliment, thank you. It's not an excuse to, oh, this old thing or that. It's just, thank you. Or someone offers to do something or hold a door for you, or, hey, honey, can I take you on a date? Thank you. That'd be lovely. I'd appreciate that.
yeah.
Or even if the roles are reversed and going, I'm going to take you out for dinner.
Mm, yeah.
Because I think for men too, being in a space of receivership when they're always feeling that they need to hold fort.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an unusual space for them. So sometimes you have to go, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to worry about all the organizational palaver, the Uber and where we're going and what sort of food we're going to have. And I'm going to take care of that. And we're just going to sit and enjoy and be in each other's
Yeah.
company. Because for guys too, equally so, finding their balance, I think, would be equally as hard, if not more so. There are as much expectations placed on us as women as there are
Yep.
placed on men to be
Mm,
the provider and the person that's got all the shit all figured out
yeah.
and know what direction we're going to go in. And
Yeah.
they're supposed to be the GPS, Siri on the GPS and know exactly where we're going and exactly how to get there and how long it's going to take and what we're going to find when we're like, Jesus, who's got all that stuff figured out? Because I don't.
Yeah. But it's funny, like I remember like this week I work with a guy who is staying in the US, but he's from another country. Like he migrated to the US. He's in his mid-20s, and he was telling me like he wants to go and like date women in the US. And since he was telling me like his experiences. And for example, in the gym, if he find like a girl attractive, and he will just go and say hi, and the girl will go all defensive on him, and then he stopped doing that because the moment he told that girl like, oh, you know what, you look really pretty today, and it's really simple, right? There's nothing wrong with that, and he was just compliment, and the girl like just went off at him, and he was like, no, I'm not doing that again. Like he says like he prefers to look down in the gym, not look around, because if he's looking at a girl and they caught him, like looking at him, he will be like, oh, I'm so scared I will go on social media being labeled as a pervert. So this is the new trend. He was telling me about the new trend going on in the US as well. Where is that? Because he asked me about the question like, what do you feel about, like now there's the feminine, like he didn't put it that way. He said like the female, like they are taking over or something. He was like that. And I was like, they are not taking over. It's just that there's wounded masculine energy around. So they had to tap into their masculine. So now they are trying to find a balance. And we as men as well, we are trying to find a balance to understand that. So yeah, it's creating a clash. So it's not like someone is taking over from others. It may feel like that, but it's about understanding, or maybe that the person was raised differently, the perspective, maybe she had some traumatic experience as well with the male gender, and that's why she's acting that way.
And
But it
sometimes
does,
the gym is not the best place to actually have a
yes.
conversation with people.
And that's where he came down to, like, okay, maybe change the place to have conversation with, and with whom. And I told him, look, and again, I told him, if you're going to focus on people that are like that, like react that way, guess what? The universe is going to send you more like that.
Oh,
And
good, 1,000%.
you're going to reinforce that all female or like that, like all people from the female gender or like that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that. Like, if we do a basic calculation on how many people, and we did the math because he's an engineer, so we did like, and I just narrowed it down, let's say it's 10,000, like, just give a number about it, just say it's 10,000. So let's say 5 were like that. Does that mean the rest is like this? No, it doesn't mean. Like, just keep on, like, some people don't like compliment, like they don't appreciate it because
Well, they've
maybe
never
they
had them before, so they don't know what to
yep.
do with them, right?
Yeah, and he was saying, like, in the modern age now, it's all about the phone. And I say, yeah, that's why people find it weird if you're talking to them in their face, because I bet if you texted them that, they will be like, oh yeah, sending an emo and saying, yeah, I like that, thank you. It will be easier. But if I tell you to your face, you're like, oh, that person is attacking me, or is it true? Is it, or is he sure? I don't think so. And that's where all the insecurities. And I talk about that with him to
Yeah.
make him understand that, and it's okay to accept. You need to be. That's where you tap into your compassion mode and say, you understand. Okay, it's not the right time. It's not the right thing maybe to say to you, because you clearly has not. Like, you don't tell that to that person.
Yeah.
If you're close to that person, maybe yes, you can tell them. Clearly, you need to work on something there. But it's about understanding people that now we are living in an age where we are, like, in our phones, because now with the virtual reality, with the new Apple that came out, the VR virtual reality with the
Goggles.
headset goggles. Yeah, I forgot the name. I'm not getting the name. Where you can just, so it's like you're walking and you can see someone's profile. If you want, you can
No,
do that. So it's not, you can
really?
see their profile. So let's say I'm walking in New York, right? I'm walking in New York street. So I can have different browser open in that Google, like in the virtual reality. So if you want to understand what's happening, you can watch the movie Ready Player One. So we are going in that mode. It's a movie that was about the gaming. And so now even the football games, it's like you're in the stadium. You can have the same sensation, or, like, it's like
Why
it's
is
like
my
the
brain
players, right?
screaming that this is so wrong?
Yeah, well, that's where we are going. And that's where, why people now, you will see with time, they will start moving away from technology and just be within, because it will get so overwhelming for some people. I'm not saying for everyone. It might not be for everyone. But we are going into that age of virtual reality. Yeah. You didn't know about the, I
Mm,
forgot the name, the
no,
exact
like
name.
I've seen the VR goggles and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But oh, yeah, my moral compass is going nope.
Yeah.
Completely.
Because there's a video of a guy who was in a cafe and he had his goggles on, and there was the coffee, and he was doing, like, with things with his hand. You thought it would be weird, but no one around cared, because he might be playing some game and he was doing it in a coffee shop. And what I found strange is, like, you go in a coffee shop now, so you wouldn't even have conversation with people. So we would even not going out. So some people are becoming more into that mode. So that's where I feel that there is a need of balance in terms
Yeah,
of,
1,000%.
of going within. And that's why the episode about the digital detox is, I feel it was important for people to understand that
Mm.
I'm not saying going offline completely, but it's like
Being
take some
measured.
time. Yes, like like on your phone now you have the time, you can put time limit for every app that you're on. So you can do that for a daily, like is it like 1 hour on Facebook or whatever it is that works for you. So you can set the limit and they give you like a notification that you're over the limit. So you can start with that. But
Mm.
then you will ask like, what do I do with that time? That's the time where you can journal, where you don't, because I was listening to another person called Dandapani, and he said like every morning when you wake up, switch off everything, right? Not even music, no meditation, music, nothing, and just sit with your thoughts for 15 minutes, right? And just if you want to write, you can, but he recommends like you just sit there and just see what kind of thoughts come through. And with time, it's about getting comfortable with that. Yeah. So that was interesting to do that. It's scary. I can tell you that. Well,
Mm.
because we are bombarded by screen now, even listening, even when we are in the gym, like you put on the music, you put on some maybe motivational music. If you're not on your listening to something in the gym itself, there's a music going on,
Yeah,
or
but I
you will see.
put my stuff in my ears because I don't want to listen to what they're cranking out,
Yeah.
right? I want
Mhm.
things that work for me. It would be much easier because everybody has earphones on when you go into the gym. So I don't
Yeah,
understand why they play music. Like
they do. For some people like me who sometimes don't put don't bring their earphones, but I
been in
don't
that
listen.
position once. Never, 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 never again.
When your battery of your Bluetooth earphone went off, it's like, yep, this is the time you have to listen to the music if you want to, but you can choose the music in your head. It's totally up to
True
you.
that. True that.
Yeah,
Very
but
much so.
I feel like to tap in, one of the best ways to tap in for me that I found personally is like sitting down with that, with your thoughts in
Mm.
total silence. And by silence I mean external, because in your head or in your mind, that's a different story. Even
There's a
at
cast
5
of
a.m.,
thousands in there, right?
even at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever time it is, it's a party. Like it's an ongoing party.
It's a
And
football stadium
yeah,
full of thoughts and ideas and yelling and people whispering and doing all sorts of
mm,
things. So it is really fascinating to I suppose do what we do because it gives us an insight into lots of different people and thought processes and perspectives and points of view. And I think that's the one glorious part about all of it, is the fact that it's not only about us trying to help other people have a different perspective on what is happening in their life, but we also gain insight and knowledge to take away for our own growth and spiritual journeys. Sometimes clients come up with the best one-liners and the best little bits of something, and you're going, hang on a minute, can you reverse that back again, and can we play that out again and have another, a deeper look at that? Because in that moment it's almost like this beautiful connection and this beautiful new thing that's blossomed out of nowhere, and then you're going, oh, that's gold. That's
yeah,
really, really great. But I think the reminder of endeavoring to be in balance and endeavoring to be in a space of receivership whenever you meet anybody, is to meet people where they're at and endeavouring not to place judgment, just to simply be and to see how you can be of service to that person, whether it's your 5-year-old and they're screaming because they want breakfast, or whether it's your partner and going, have you paid the bill, or have you sorted dinner yet, or whether it's your teenage children who seem to always want $20 put in their bank account, or whatever it is. We need to be patient and to sit and not be in a hurry. But dear God, people, connect with one another. Don't do it through goggles. Human connection is one of the greatest gifts, I think, that we can be given on a daily basis. And do yourself a favour. When you're walking through a mall or down the street, smile at someone. Say good morning. Say hi, how you going? And connect. Even you may be the only person that they have spoken to today. The only person that they have had actual human interaction with. So give out some love and kindness and compassion, because I think that's really important. If that's anything that Elizabeth has taught us from last week's episode, kindness and compassion, and love yourself where you're at. And if you feel a little squirrely in your own skin, maybe you need to sit, like David suggested. Start with 2 or 3 minutes. Doesn't have to be 15. Just
It
start with
has to be 50.
a
okay.
little bit of time. Even if it's quietly in the bathroom, on the toilet, just sitting 2 or 3 minutes with no interruptions and no phones and no nothing. Just be with yourself. Start small. As we always say, start small and then allow it to build. Stack your habits. Try new things on for size. See how it fits and sits for you. Doesn't mean you can't go back and try it again, because it might not be the right time to pick up that book or to listen to that podcast or to catch up with that person. Try and tune in and see what the Almighty has in store for you, and going, yes, okay, I'll ring that person, because when they're insistent, they're insistent. So we just take every day as an absolute blessing, because it's a finite time we have in our human suits, right? And to have some gratitude and appreciation for what we have, and being okay with that, I think is important.
Yeah, it's just like riding the wave, like you said. If I'm not mistaken, the Apple one is called Vision Pro or something. Yeah, so
I know
so
what I'll be
instead
asked for Christmas. I can see it coming now.
and instead of going external to have a vision, go with the inner vision, that you have of yourself. And I feel that moment of silence really, really, like really sitting with yourself, because what he recommend is like not doing anything, like not even during the shower or on the toilet, nothing. Like he recommend, like even if you're in the bed, for example, and you just open your eyes and like you're being lazy. Here we are going to be in winter soon, so yeah, that will come. Those lovely thoughts of being staying in bed. Why go to the gym, for example? You know, those thoughts will come. So you just be with those thoughts and accept whatever is coming and write them down, because even taking them out of your mind and just putting it on paper, it can give you a clearer perspective. Or like you said, talk to someone, but not just via like Zoom or something, but it's like meeting in person, and
Mm.
put your phones away when you're doing that, because it's like having that total focus on that person. It's like, like being present with that person. And I feel like Elizabeth showed that, being totally present with us during that episode.
Mm.
And that's one of the learnings that we had as well. And I feel that if you put that into practice in everything that you're doing, like even that 1 minute that you choose, or 60 seconds that you choose to just be with you, doing nothing, be focused on that 60 seconds and see what happens. Like maybe there will be more positive than negative, like because sometimes
Mm.
we're so scared that, oh, there will be only like shitty thoughts. But no,
There might be some grand ideas in there that you just don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, that will make you, like change your life, or, like instead of just listening to others, take the time to listen to you as well, like the inner self, because that's important as well. I feel that's one of the best ways to do that again is, yeah, just sit with you, and
Mm.
and that's connecting with that feminine energy where you're really, because that's self-love, it's self-care, it's really being present with you, because the moment you're giving you that 60 seconds or more, it means you can totally focus with someone else for that time.
Yeah, but you're
And
recognizing the divinity in the other person, right?
mm,
You're
yep,
you're having a soul-led experience. Our humans want to control. I sort of see the soul journey and the human journey as that feminine and masculine energy. The human wants to constantly get stuff done, and I know exactly what I'm meant to be doing, and the souls go, no, just rest and be and take a breath, and we'll get where we need to go. And I'm actually better at the driver's seat than you are. But we're so desperate in our human to control everything, and we've been taught that that's the way in which we need to be. But if we just allow the soul to drive 4 times a week, maybe at least, then you're going to get a different life experience. But yeah, next time you get in the driver's seat of your car or on your bicycle or whatever mode of transport that you choose to use, just have a think, who's driving today and where are they going to take you? And be, and
yeah.
surrender and trust and have some patience. All those good feminine traits.
I think that episode is a good reminder of surrender and trust the process and just be, because on the soul perspective, there's no time and separation.
Yeah.
So there's no where you want to be, where you thought you want to be. There's no separation. On the soul, it's like, yeah, you're already there. The moment you think about it or you feel it, you're already there. So there's no separation. It's only on the human, on the 3D level that we have to put the timeline. We have to think of what's the next step, what to do. It's in the
Yeah.
3D world. But
Correct.
when you tap into the soul, it's when you feel that, oh, things are getting attracted actually. Things are working out, things are unfolding easier than we thought when we are trying to control things.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's one of the lessons
That's an
I feel.
excellent takeaway for myself today. It's just today is my day to be. So
To
that
be
is
be divine.
mhm.
So we really are grateful for Elizabeth to have come on our, podcast and virtual couch, because that was a blissful moment. We did have a conversation before that was still really
So good.
delightful. So we really appreciate. We wish that she can come uh in other episodes as well. So we
Yeah.
can welcome her back. I think on that note, from my end, it's thank you for listening in, because it's just a reminder of just be. Take some time with to be with you. No one else. No phone, no screen, nothing, and just sit, not in the dark, maybe in the light, wherever you are, but no external stimulation, sorry, and just be. So thank you for listening, and I will leave the last few words for Tina.
As always, we love you. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to having you back with us on the virtual couch next week for episode 45. Until then, take care and have an amazing day.
Thank you. I'll see you.